So when we added up the non-renewable power produced by South Australia for those 4 days, that's the power from coal, gas and diesel, it turned out that they were producing it at the rate of 1,081 megawatts. So the supporters of renewable power want to replace that fossil fuel based power with renewable power, with alternates, and the two ideas that come forward are grid lithium-ion batteries and hydroelectric power, pumped hydro. So in pumped hydro you get a bunch of water, and when the sun's shining and the wind's blowing a lot and you've got excess electricity, you pump it from a lower basin or a lower container up into a top container. And then when the wind dies down, the sun's not shining, they open up the gates and the water runs down the sluice, down the pipe, and hits a turbine that drives a generator that produces electricity. And so I got interested in working out how much water you'd need to replace this 92 hours of 1,081 megawatts produced by the fossil fuel. So I went on the internet and I found this formula to calculate hydropower. And it seems like a reasonably simple formula, and it operates on watts. So we've got to convert 1,081 to kilowatts and then kilowatts to watts. That's a big number. And there's a thing in here that says head in meters. So when the water runs down here, obviously the higher the hill, the more run up it gets, and the more power it's got to turn the turbine. So you don't need, so the amount of water that you need to produce an amount of power is dependent upon the height the water falls. So I started this, and at 50 metres, if the water's falling 50 metres, you need 5,526 cubic metres of water per second. And then if the fall of the water's 400 metres, you need 690, and then if it's 800, the fall of the water's 800 metres, you need 345 metres cubed per second to generate 1,081 megawatts. But of course we don't need that for 1 second, we need that for 92 hours. So to convert seconds to hours, you've got to convert by 3,600. So you have 5,526 metres cubed per second for 92 hours gives us this many metres cubed of water required to produce that amount of electricity. And if it's a 400 metre head, you need this much, and if it's 800 metre head, you need this much. And all these numbers they're just huge, they're pretty much incomprehensible. So you can convert them to megalitres, which is a measurement of water that people that measure water use, and it's 1,000 metres cubed. So the total amount of water needed to produce 1,081 megalitres for 92 hours at a 50 metre fall is 1,830,211 megalitres. And at 800 metres it's 114,264. And these numbers still don't mean a lot. You can't envisage how much this water is. So I compared it to something I knew. Now the Somerset Dam in Queensland is one of the second main water supply for Brisbane. It's in southeast Queensland, and it's a pretty big dam, and it holds 379,000 megalitres. So here's a picture of the Somerset Dam, and there's about 40 kilometres from the dam wall here right up to the back, and it's 4,350 hectares, and its shoreline's 240 kilometres, and there's 203,000 cubic metres of concrete. So it's a fairly big dam, and it's 30 metres deep or something. It's quite a big dam. So at 50 metre 4, you're going to need 5 dams that size, and 2.5 and down to 0.3 dam that size if you've got a fall of 800 metres. And I don't know what the average height of hills is in mountains is in South Australia. So you're going to have a range of outcomes. But wait, there's more, because you actually need twice this number of dams, because you've got to have a source of water, and in this case it's going to be 1,830,000 megalitres, and then you've got to pump it up to a container that's that big, and then you've got to let it run back down. So all in all, to replace that amount of power with hydroelectric takes a whole lot of water and a whole lot of dams.